This test has 3 parts. In each part, you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. You'll have time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. Part A. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with the information you hear. Now look at the notes for extract 1. Extract 1, questions 1 to 12. You hear a gastroenterologist talking to a patient called Martin Rash. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Martin, you've been referred to me by your GP, and I've got your notes here. But first of all, perhaps you could tell me in your own words what's brought you here today.
Well, it's a combination of things, really. I suspect they're all related. I've been getting really bad heartburn. It's quite extreme and always worse after I've eaten. Something else I've noticed is that I sometimes get bile in my mouth, which tastes revolting, and it probably makes my breath smell. It's absolutely disgusting. I seem to be belching and burping a lot too, and I'm full of gas or water or something. I feel bloated virtually all the time. On top of that, it often hurts when I'm swallowing. Something's not right, and it doesn't seem to be improving or going away. Quite the opposite. I can't get comfortable when I'm lying down, so it's affecting my sleep too.
Any other symptoms, like diarrhea or sickness?
No, nothing like that.
And have you been taking anything?
Well, I popped down to the local pharmacy and they gave me an antacid, so I've been taking that. I'm trying to eat more fruit and vegetables. I've also made a really big effort to cut down on my alcohol consumption. I don't really know if that's going to help or not. And I find that going for a walk after dinner helps. That way I don't feel quite so bad when I go to bed.
Well, it sounds like you've done the right thing in coming to see me. You do seem quite concerned.
Well, I am worried. I mean, what if it's an ulcer or something? I would absolutely hate that. I can't stand the thought of not being able to eat properly. I love going out to eat in restaurants, and that would be the end of that, wouldn't it? Not only that, but I don't want to lose a lot of weight and get thin. I've always been quite fit and strong, and the last thing I want is to go all weedy looking. And then there's my job. I work on a construction site and I don't want to have to ask my colleagues to do things for me or depend on them for anything. I'm a project manager, so I can't afford to take time off if I'm ill. Yeah, taking time off work would be a big problem for me.
From what you've said, I don't think it'll come to that.
Could you look into it, though? I mean, do some tests. I reckon that'd give us a clue as to what's going on. I'm just worried I might need to have surgery. That'd be awful. I'd really hate that.
OK, well, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. Could you just talk me through any major illnesses or accidents you've had in the past?
Well, there's not much to report. When I was small, I had whooping cough. Then I went travelling around Central Asia 4 years ago and managed to get a bug, some food poisoning thing. And the only other thing was last year I was helping my friend move house. I slipped a disc. I felt my back go when we were picking up a heavy sofa.
Right. And one last question before I take a look at you about medication. Where are you with that?
Well, I'm still on the blood pressure tablets my GP gave me 3 years ago, the Ramipril. That's the only medicine that I'm actually prescribed. Otherwise, I do tend to take a fair amount of ibuprofen because of the work I do. I get a very sore knee because I'm often working on all fours on pretty hard surfaces. That's about it as far as medication's concerned, though.
Okay. Well, thank you for all that background. That's really useful. What we need to do now is...
Extract 2, questions 13 to 24. You hear a physiotherapist talking to a patient called Sally Winter. For questions 13 to 24, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Sally, you've been referred to me by your GP, and I've got your notes here. First of all, though, I'd like to hear from you what's brought you here today. Could you tell me how your problems began, what treatments you've had, and anything else you think I may need to know?
Well, it all started about 5 years ago. I began to notice a pain in my arm, and it's gradually got worse.
Okay.
It's a horrible type of pain, a sort of tingling like pins and needles going all the way down my right forearm from the elbow. It's the inside part that's particularly bad, and it occasionally affects my little finger too. Anyway, I've had to come and see you because it's got to the point where I can't work. I cycle for a living. I'm a delivery cyclist, and last weekend I noticed I was finding it hard to use the brakes, and when I turn corners, it's agony. I just can't seem to grip things properly. It's having quite a big impact on my life. I mean, all of the hundreds of little jobs I do every day that I never used to think about now seem almost impossible. This morning I had to ask my son to tie my shoelaces for me. My wrist feels so weak. It's ruining everything.
I see. So what have you been doing to manage the pain?
Well, I went to see my GP. It must have been about a year ago now. He suggested using ice packs and to rest the arm, so that's what I did. And it did work up to a point, but it's gone beyond that now. So then this friend of mine said I should try CBD oil, as it's supposed to be amazing for that kind of pain. And it is the best thing I've found so far.
Okay.
But if I know I'm going to be doing a big job and I need my arm and hand to work properly, I take a Panadol beforehand.
I see. Now, it says here on your notes that you went to see a chiropractor too. How did that go?
Well, I only went once because it's expensive. He gave me some funny exercises to do. I had to squeeze a tennis ball like this over and over. And the other thing he did was give me an elastic band and put it round my hand. Then I had to stretch it. Oh, and one more exercise where I had to lift a little weight up and down slowly. But it didn't help much, really. To be honest, I stuck to it for about a week, and when nothing happened, I gave up because it felt like a waste of time.
I see. Is there anything else I need to know about? Any major illnesses or operations in the past?
Well, I had appendicitis when I was a kid, and 2 years ago I went on a climbing holiday in Spain, and somehow I managed to pick up a shoulder injury there, but otherwise nothing major. I've had a few bouts of depression over the past 5 years or so, like when a long-term relationship came to an end, and then when my brother passed away. He had leukemia. But I managed to pull round okay, because I'm very fit. I don't know many other women of my age who are in such good shape. And of course, I'm not overweight either.
No, you do look very well, Sally.
What really worries me coming here is that it's all going to be a complete waste of time and totally ineffective. I mean, does physiotherapy even work? No offence, but I can't afford any more days off sick. If the problem's ongoing, you know, like a long-term thing, then I'm going to be in trouble. What I really want is steroid injections.
Well, a lot of people have doubts about physiotherapy, but I can assure you that it's an extremely powerful form of treatment, and you will see results if you commit to doing the exercises.
Okay, But it'd be good if we could at least talk about some sort of surgery. My GP said I had to come and see you first.
I don't think it'll even come to that. From what you've been saying, I'm confident that we'll be able to handle this with physiotherapy and over-the-counters.
That is the end of Part A.